Hey there, welcome back to Berkeley Life. I'm Nick, and I got a question for you today. How many times have you gone up to the local dealership or oil change place to get your oil changed or just serviced after 3,000 miles, and they tell you have water in your brake lines and that new rotors are going to fix the problem? You don't even know where to start or whether they're right or what water in the brake lines means. Well, here's 5 reasons that it's important to be able to work on your own car and be more self-sufficient when it comes to your mobile home, your RV, your skoolie, or your van conversion. Reason number 1, and it's the reason that I started working on my own vehicles, is so that you don't get taken advantage of by so-called professionals who's supposed to know what they're doing. When I was just a wee lad in high school, I was given a 1996 Honda Accord by my uncle, and while that sounds great, it needed a new head gasket. It could run, but not super great, and so we limped it to my house, and I found a mechanic who was reputable, and he was really straightforward with me, and it was a great experience. He fixed the head gasket. It ran for a couple more years after that, and it gave me kind of a false sense of security when it came to what dealing with mechanics and dealerships is like, because it's my first time dealing with that. So the next time I had a car issue, I wanted to bring it back down to him, 45 minutes away, but because he was 45 minutes away, my car wouldn't make it there. So I looked around, I asked some friends, hey, what's a good mechanic, and I was sent to this guy who was much closer to my house. So I get the car to this mechanic shop, and he told me it was the water pump. And I was like, what's a water pump? I have no idea what that is. And he told me basically that it wasn't worth the money to fix it because the car wasn't worth what it was going to cost me to fix this water pump issue. And then he told me he'd give me the $300 for it that the scrapyard was going to give me and that he'd scrap it for me. So me being 17, not knowing anything about cars, I fell for it. I got to thinking over the next couple days about the cost it was going to be to buy a new car. So I called him up a couple days later and said, hey, do you still have my car? If you do, I'd really actually prefer you to fix it, and I'll pay whatever it costs to fix it. And you know what he told me on the phone? He said, oh, sorry, I already fixed it and sold it to some other girl. But it was just a lesson to me that I need to be more self-reliant, so that if I ever ran into this kind of a problem again, I wouldn't be duped by somebody. So my reason number 2 for knowing how to work on your own vehicle, whether it be a bicycle, a skoolie conversion, a van, a car, whatever your vehicle is to become more self-reliant. So imagine this, you're on the highway and your tire blows. Do you know how to fix that tire? Do you know how to replace it? Or do you have to sit there in the cold and the rain with cars whizzing past you and wait on AAA or somebody to come that knows how to fix it? What if it's cold? What if it's hot? What if you have a child or an animal in the back seat? Those additional factors really start to extrapolate the danger of those kind of situations. And if you were able to be self-reliant at all and know a little bit about your car, then you might be able to get yourself out of some sticky situations. Your perspective really changes when you feel confident in knowing how to change a tire or knowing if there's a funny sound in your car. You don't have to stop on the side of the road and get stranded. You can actually make it home. That confidence is important in this world. It's important to be self-reliant outside of just owning your vehicle. You might be asking me, well, Nick, where am I going to learn about being self-reliant and learning how to work on my vehicle? And learning is an important part of being more self-reliant in this world. It doesn't just apply to vehicles. It applies to every aspect of your life. Go to YouTube, read a book, reach out to a friend who knows what they're talking about. Start small. Start with an oil change or just changing your brake pads. And as you develop skills, you'll start to understand how things work and where things go and what sounds make what. I'm not saying you got to go and be able to swap an engine or tune an engine or lower or raise your truck. What I am saying is if you're a little self-reliant, you can get your way out of some situations, whether it be with your vehicle or other problems in life. And what's even more important than that is learning how to learn and knowing you don't know something, but being willing to learn and figure out how to solve a problem. Reason number 3, knowing how to be self-reliant, working on your own vehicles allows you to be adventurous. In 2015, I had the bright idea of going on the Great American Road Trip, and I bought a 1996 Jeep Cherokee. It needed everything. It needed new gaskets, it needed new shocks, it needed a lift. It was just a saggy mess. And I changed every gasket, every shock, the headliner, every steering component. Before that, I had only changed my oil before, really. Maybe 1 or 2 odd jobs around the car. And not only do I have that truck today, but I drove that truck all the way to California from the East Coast on a 5-week road trip only with 2 minor mishaps that I was able to diagnose as we were driving. The reason I was able to do that was because I was willing to take the chance on this vehicle. And there's a lot of vehicles like that out there that are super cheap, and you just got to put a little TLC into them and you can make them last a long time. I wouldn't be able to go out in the middle of the desert if I didn't feel comfortable that if I broke down, I'd be able to get myself out of that situation. You can go anywhere if you know how to fix your car. If you know how to get out of a sticky situation, you don't have to pay for that tow truck to get you out. And if you do have to pay for that tow truck, you're not going to get taken by that professional who says it's something that it's not. If you're willing to learn some skills on your own, adventure can come at a cheap cost comparatively to if you paid someone to do the work for you. So learn some skills and it allows you to take that grand adventure you'd always been imagining. Here's reason number 4. Save money. Now, I'm not just talking save money on repair costs. There's a lot more that goes into your vehicle and the cost of your vehicle than just repair. The biggest cost of repairs and maintenance is labor. Most of the time, parts are relatively affordable if you go get them yourself, but you go to the mechanic and they're going to upcharge you to get the parts and they're going to charge you to do the labor. And that's oftentimes more money than the part itself. If you do the work, then you don't have to pay any of that labor. Another way you save money by working on your own vehicle is you can keep it running for longer because you're not paying those labor costs. If you're just putting the cost that you would put into labor to somebody else into the parts and time yourself, the car is going to last you a lot longer than if you paid someone else to do it. For example, I had a 2007 Toyota Corolla for years, and I bought it with 130,000 miles on it. It was my second car after that Accord. For really the last 5 years of owning that car, all I had to do was put $400 or $500 into it every 6 months, and I didn't have to have a car payment. The car payment of $200 to $400 every month, that's way more than $400 every 6 months, and a little bit of labor on my own time. And then I could save that money, so if I needed to buy a new car, I could. And reason number 5 for being more self-reliant and knowing how to work on your own vehicles is when you do end up having to go buy a new or used car or truck or bus or whatever it is you're purchasing, you can feel more comfortable asking questions. You'll know what you're looking at least a little bit when you go to buy it. Knowing what you're looking at sometimes will save you from some unwanted issues. How many times have you watched a skoolie conversion video where they go buy the bus and it's a complete lemon and they're left with no recourse, or they end up spending $20,000 on a new engine? It's a lot easier to prevent a lot of headache if you know what you're getting into before you spend your hard-earned money. If you ask the right questions and you look at the right things. I mean, who am I to speak? I bought a bus and drove it across the country and broke down a bunch of times, but at least I knew what engine I was getting. I knew what kind of bus I was getting and what year bus I was getting. I could have looked harder and I could have known more. That's a part of the process. Of course, there could be things that you missed or didn't expect, and that's a part of the adventure. And that's a part of buying a used vehicle. So let me know down below in the comments a time that your knowledge, skills, and abilities helped you get further in your vehicle or unstuck or really saved your life. If you like this video, please subscribe and check out this video either here or here of one time I put these 5 reasons to the test and my brother helped me replace the entire front end of my skoolie conversion. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.